This album is, I'm not going to say it was her best work, but I think eventually over time, we'll probably be calling it her best work. This album is a masterpiece of sound. It's a masterpiece of storytelling. It is it's the best album. Frankly, it's the best album I've heard in 2024. Again, this is not coming from someone who is a part of the Beehive, who thinks she has had 9 classics. No, what makes this album special is the fact that it didn't feel like it was Beyonce spitting, right? So imagine this, right? I've criticized Drake about the fact that Drake has been more concerned about being a pop star, being commercial, being selling records or streams or what have you, than about the actual art of rap, or then the actual out spitting. We've seen him spit in battles against Meek, Pusha T, and what have you. Drake can spit when he wants to, but that's not what moves the needle. What moves the needle is Drake singing. What moves the needle is Drake performing for the ladies, his sex appeal. That's what moves the needle. That's why Drake has been the biggest hip hop act over the course of a decade. That's his choice. That's fine. But Drake will never be, to me, in the same conversation as some of the all-time great rappers. He just won't be just for that reason alone. On this album, Beyonce was not performing. It was not a performance to me. It was her telling a story, track by track by track by track. And it was that storytelling at its highest level. The production, the storytelling. Again, I'm someone, and I listened to her album twice. There are 27 tracks. I think 5 not skits, but interludes and what have you. Basically 23 tracks of music. I'm someone who opts out once you get past 13 to 15 tracks. That's what I love about Nas. He's efficient. Nas does albums 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and is boom, boom, boom. I say what I gotta say and keep it moving. You can listen to it multiple times in a day, depending on you work out or your commute or what have you. When an album gets to that 15 or more tracks and 20 or more tracks and things like that, that many tracks, I'm normally out on it. Or I normally have a preconceived notion that I'm probably not going to listen to this more than a couple times, to be honest with you. That wasn't the case with this album. And again, this album came off to me like a novel, like a book and a film. And, there were times in the album that I thought that she was going to go in that direction where it was going to start to turn into like a performance. Like if you witness one of her, I've never been to a concert, but I've watched her concerts, and it was like, and then she would just pull it back and be like, oh, this is a country album. This is a country album. Again, I'm a fan of country music because we know country music comes from African Americans, the blues and what have you. We understand that. Right? Like that's the backlash of, it's funny. That's the backlash that she's receiving, the backlash that a lot of Black artists who have tapped into country, not tapped in, who have done country, have received from the industry and from this country, this racist country. But we know where country music comes from. Again, it seems like she can just do whatever she wants to do as far as any genre of music. You walk away feeling like, damn, Beyonce, if she wanted to do calypso, could do calypso. Like if she wanted to do Beethoven, that's how you feel about Beyonce in terms of her ability to, when she focuses in on something, when she locks in on something, puts her mind all the way to it. It's like, what can she not do from an artistry standpoint? This album is a storytelling masterpiece. It is a technical masterpiece. All the features were on point. How the album is arranged, how each song is arranged, it's basically to me, it's as close as coming to it being a perfect album as you can come. Again, I will remind you, I'm not a part of the Beehive. I'm not. And this album will age, to me, it will age like Kendrick Lamar's last album did, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and like Kanye West's album, Donda. Like you'll listen to it repeatedly. You might think about it. You might listen to it the first listening. You might listen to it the first time, be like, but as you keep listening to it over and over, or as the years go by, you will realize that those albums were absolute masterpieces. Both those albums were in conversation, were arguably the best albums of their respective years, 2021 and 2022, back to back. I strongly recommend this album. I recommend you go back and look at some of the history of blues and country and where it started, and take that journey as well. Because when you start doing some research, you realize that, again, a lot of these country artists that became popular that were white absolutely took off black country artists who came before them, or black blues performers who came before them. Pure and simple. Pure is all there is to it. Please do it. Research it for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. In terms of her best albums, again, I probably would put this second behind Lemonade. Lemonade was one of the best albums of the decade of the 2010s. I'd say Lemonade, this, and then Dangerously in Love. Those would be my top 3 Beyonce albums. But this, without question, it's an undeniable classic. This is what I mean. Without question, is a classic. And again, Renaissance, I was not as high on Renaissance as a lot of people were. I'm not. Very good album. I don't think Renaissance was great. That's just my personal opinion. Most people, especially if you're in the BI, would certainly disagree with that. And it's going to be interesting to see how this moves culture, how this affects culture. I certainly expect there to be some more artists that feel more comfortable coming out and doing country music, doing country music openly, and not being afraid of the backlash or some of the racist shit that they're gonna get. I think this is a seminal moment in the culture to me. I think we're gonna look back at this and say, like, this album was a shifter in music culture. I really do. I think that we're going to look back at it and saying this is one of the most definitive albums of the decade. It's 2024. This will be a definitive album of this decade. When we're approaching 2030, God willing, we will be like looking at this as one of the best albums of the decade. There's no question in my mind.